Kelsey Grammer knew tragedy. It had stalked his family, leaving a trail of heartbreak and loss. From a young age, Kelsey was no stranger to the shadows of sorrow that seemed to follow his family. But nothing could have prepared him for the profound devastation of July 1st, 1975. That day would forever be etched in his memory as the darkest of his life. His younger sister Karen, just 18 and on the cusp of adulthood, was snatched away in a senseless act of violence. She had been walking home, unaware of the lurking danger. Kidnapped, raped, and murdered, her life was cut tragically short. The news headlines screamed of the horror, but they could never capture the true depth of the family's pain. The vibrant young woman, full of dreams and potential, was gone. Karen had so many aspirations, so many plans for her future that would now never come to be. Left behind was an unfathomable void and a family shattered by grief. The funeral was a somber affair, a stark reminder of the fragility of life. The pain of Karen's loss was especially acute for Kelsey. He had always been close to his sister, their bond unbreakable even in the toughest times. They had shared a bond forged in the crucible of a difficult childhood. Through thick and thin, they had been each other's rock, providing comfort and strength. Their parents' divorce had fractured their family, leaving them clinging to each other for support and solace. The turmoil at home had only made their connection stronger. Karen, with her infectious laugh and zest for life, had been a beacon of light in Kelsey's world. Her joy was contagious, and she had a way of making even the darkest days seem brighter. He had always felt a responsibility to protect her, to shield her from harm. As her older brother, he took this role seriously, always watching out for her. Now, faced with the unbearable truth of her fate, Kelsey was consumed by guilt and a searing sense of helplessness. He questioned what he could have done differently, how he could have saved her. The world, once filled with promise, seemed to crumble around him. The loss of Karen left a void that could never be filled, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the cruelty of fate. The murder of Karen Grammer sent shockwaves through their small community. It was an event that no one could have anticipated, a dark cloud that descended without warning. The brutality of the crime, the senselessness of it all, left everyone reeling. It was a stark reminder of how fragile life can be, and how quickly it can be taken away. For Kelsey, the tragedy was compounded by the echoes of another devastating loss. The pain of losing his sister was intertwined with memories of past sorrow. Years earlier, in 1968, his father, Frank, had been murdered in a senseless act of violence. The family had barely begun to heal from that wound. Shot and killed by a taxi driver, Frank Grammer left behind a young family grappling with the sudden absence of a husband and father. The loss was profound and life-altering. The wounds of that tragedy were still raw, the pain still palpable. The family had struggled to find a new normal, but the scars remained. Kelsey, just a teenager at the time of his father's death, had struggled to come to terms with the loss. It was a burden that weighed heavily on his young shoulders. The experience had left an indelible mark on his young psyche, shaping his worldview and coloring his perception of the world. It was a formative event that would influence him for years to come. Now, faced with the murder of his beloved sister, Kelsey found himself thrust back into the abyss of grief, forced to confront the fragility of life and the capricious nature of fate. The pain was almost unbearable. The weight of these tragedies bore down on him, threatening to crush his spirit. Yet in the midst of this overwhelming sorrow, Kelsey would have to find a way to carry on, to honor the memories of those he had lost. As if the murders of his sister and father weren't enough, tragedy continued to haunt the Grammer family. Years later, Kelsey's two half-brothers, Stephen and Billy, died tragically in a scuba diving accident. The brothers, full of life and adventurous spirit, had been exploring the waters off the coast of St. Thomas when tragedy struck. The details of their deaths remain shrouded in mystery, adding another layer of pain to an already unimaginable burden of grief. Each loss chipped away at Kelsey's emotional armor, leaving him vulnerable and raw. The world, once a place of wonder and possibility, now seemed fraught with danger and despair. The pain of losing his siblings, coupled with the unresolved trauma of his father's murder, created a perfect storm of grief and anguish. Kelsey found himself spiraling downward, desperately seeking solace in the fleeting embrace of drugs and alcohol. The weight of his grief proved too heavy to bear alone. Kelsey, struggling to cope with the overwhelming pain, turned to drugs and alcohol as a way to numb the emotional agony. Cocaine and alcohol became his constant companions, offering temporary respite from the relentless onslaught of grief and guilt. He was caught in a vicious cycle, seeking oblivion from the very substances that were destroying him. His addictions took a toll on his personal and professional life. Relationships faltered, and his career, though flourishing on the surface, was plagued by his inner turmoil. Despite his success as an actor, earning accolades and critical acclaim for his role as Dr. Frasier Crane in the hit sitcoms Cheers and Frasier, Kelsey was fighting a losing battle against his demons. The charming and witty persona he presented to the world masked a deep-seated pain that threatened to consume him entirely. Section 5. Facing the Abyss. It took hitting rock bottom for Kelsey to realize he needed help. The weight of his struggles had become unbearable, and he could no longer ignore the signs that his life was spiraling out of control. Years of substance abuse had taken their toll, leaving him physically and emotionally depleted. His once vibrant spirit was now overshadowed by a constant state of exhaustion and despair. The realization that he was on a path to self-destruction, that he was in danger of squandering his talent and the precious gift of life, forced him to confront his demons. He knew that if he didn't make a change, he would lose everything he held dear. He checked himself into rehab, determined to break free from the chains of addiction. It was a decision that required immense courage and a willingness to face the unknown. The road to recovery was long and arduous. Each step forward was met with challenges that tested his resolve, but he remained steadfast in his commitment to healing. It required facing the pain he had been trying to outrun for so long. The memories he had buried deep within began to resurface, demanding to be acknowledged and processed. Through therapy and support groups, Kelsey began to unravel the layers of grief and trauma that had haunted him for years. He confronted the guilt, the anger, and the overwhelming sadness that had been festering inside him. Each session brought him closer to understanding the root of his pain and the overwhelming sadness that had been festering inside him. The tears he shed were a testament to the deep wounds that were finally beginning to heal. It was a painful process, but a necessary one. Each moment of introspection brought him closer to the person he wanted to become. He was determined to emerge from the darkness a changed man, ready to embrace life without the crutch of addiction. With each passing day, he felt a renewed sense of hope and purpose, knowing that he was on the path to a brighter future. As Section 6, the power of the pen. As part of his healing journey, Kelsey discovered the therapeutic power of writing. Putting pen to paper, he began to explore the depths of his grief, to give voice to the pain he had carried for so long. In the solitude of his writing space, he found solace and a sense of catharsis. The act of writing became a form of therapy, a way to process his emotions and to honor the memory of his beloved sister. He poured his heart and soul into his memoir, Karen, A Brother Remembers, a poignant and heartbreaking tribute to his sister. In its pages, he shared intimate details of their childhood, their special bond, and the devastating impact of her loss on his life. He wrote candidly about his struggles with addiction, his journey to sobriety, and the long road to healing. Section 7. Karen's Story, Kelsey's Journey. Karen, A Brother Remembers is more than just a memoir. It's a testament to the enduring power of love and the resilience of the human spirit. Through his writing, Kelsey was able to transform his pain into something meaningful, something that could potentially help others who had experienced similar loss. He understood that his story, though deeply personal, had universal themes of grief, loss, and the struggle to find hope in the face of tragedy. The book became a form of catharsis, not only for Kelsey, but for readers who connected with his story of loss and resilience. It resonated with those who had also experienced the profound pain of losing a loved one to violence, offering a message of hope and healing. In sharing his story, Kelsey provided solace and comfort to others, proving that even in the darkest of times, there is always light to be found. Section 8. Finding Peace, Honoring Memory. Through the process of writing his memoir and confronting his demons, Kelsey Grammer found a measure of peace. He learned to live with the pain of his past, to carry the memory of his loved ones with him without letting it define him. He embraced sobriety, rebuilding his life and focusing on his family and his craft. He became an advocate for addiction recovery, using his platform to raise awareness and to destigmatize mental health issues. He spoke openly about his struggles, encouraging others to seek help and to know that they are not alone. His story became a beacon of hope, proving that recovery is possible, even from the depths of despair. Section 9. A Legacy of Resilience. Kelsey Grammer's life has been marked by both immense success and profound tragedy. Through it all, he has shown remarkable strength and resilience. He has faced his demons head-on, emerging from the darkness stronger and more determined than ever. His journey is a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity and to find meaning in the face of loss. His story is not just about tragedy, it's about hope, healing, and the enduring power of love. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always light to be found, and that even in the face of unimaginable loss, life goes on. Kelsey Grammer's legacy is one of resilience, of triumph over tragedy, and of the enduring power of the human spirit to find meaning and purpose even in the face of life's greatest challenges.